Okay, so the next problem in the lead code we are solving is merge intervals. Okay, so basically here they provide us the intervals. Okay, it's a list of intervals. Okay, so ultimately what we need to do here is we need to merge the intervals here. Okay, so what does that mean is so basically here it is a like given intervals. Okay, list of intervals. So we need to merge all of them. So what does that mean is so basically 1 comma 3, right? Okay, let's picturize it. Okay, let's say that I'm going to write this 1 comma 3 as it will be easy to understand actually. So let's say this is a scale. Okay, I'm going to start from 1, I'm going to write till 3. Okay, next thing is 2 comma 6, 2 will be starting from here, right? I can write 2 to 6 here, right? So I will just write it separately so that we can clearly see it. Okay, 2 comma 6, correct, 2 comma 6, and next 8 comma 10. We'll also write that 8. There is on the scale it would have start from here. I'm going to just write it separately here. Okay, I can just write it here also. That will also make it easy to understand. So it will be 8 here, and it will be 10 here. Okay, 1 second. Okay, so the next thing is 15 to 18, right? So I can write somewhere 15 to 18 here. 15 starts from here and 8 starts 18 goes till 18. Okay, so basically what's happening here is this is the given intervals. Okay, so we need to merge if there is anything common or if there is any overlapping. Okay, that is this problem about. Okay, so here you can see there is a gap. Okay, so there is no need of merging overlapping. I mean there is no overlap, so we can leave it as it is. And here also there is a gap, right? 7 is there in between, so there is a gap. But here if you can clearly see it, like there is an overlap here, right? This range is overlapped here. Okay, so in this case what we can simply do is we can merge this and draw a single line, which is 1 comma 61. Okay, this will become the new one. Okay, let me change the color. So this will be the new range. Okay, after merging. Okay, this is the actually solution. Do we can we merge any other range? No, right? None of them are overlapping. So the final answer will be 1 comma 6. This can be merged into 1 comma 6, and rest of is 8 comma 10, 15 comma 18. Okay, this is the problem about. Okay, so now the what to do, this is the problem asked problem. Okay, so what we are going to do here is first foremost thing is we need to identify like if there are any overlapping intervals. Okay, first thing is that once we identify that overlapping intervals we need to merge it. Okay, like this, just like how we did it, right? So we'll have to merge it. Okay, so now we have break down this problem into two steps. One step is to identify it and the next step is merging it. Okay, now first let's see that how are we going to identify at first place. Okay, so if we visualize it, we just visualize it, right? How did we identify that it's an overlapping? So we got to know that once we draw this line, so it was overlapping because this ending point, right? We are comparing these two. Okay, currently we are comparing these two, and we identified this overlapping because the previous one last element, the first element, I mean the next element first element is lesser than this, correct? So nothing but 2 is lesser than 3, correct? That's what is making us overlapping, causing the overlapping, right? So that will help us in identifying that the two intervals are overlapping here, correct? So this is an index. Let me change the color. So this index, if it is greater than the next element's first element, right? Next interval's first element, right? It means that it is having an overlap. Okay, so now once we identify an overlap, what we need to do here is we need to merge this one. Okay, so what we can simply do is we can say that the second element's last element, right? So I can see that it is greater here, so I can just say that 1 comma 6, correct? So we identify this is a merging, like I mean overlapping. So what I can do is I can go and pick this element and write this one. Okay, 1 comma 6, right? So that we can do it, but the thing here is let me draw a new example that why I will tell you like why it won't work. Okay, so okay, so let's say that we have one more example. Okay, we have like something like 1 comma 3. Oh, this is stuck. 1 second. Okay, so in the previous example, what we saw, like I mean, 6 was like we can just simply pick the second elements, second index one. Okay, 2, 6, and we got this into answer. But this is not always right, right? So we'll see why. Okay, let's take this example now. Okay, 1 comma 4, 2 comma 3. So first thing, what we'll do, we'll check if it is an overlapping or not. Okay, for that we'll see the first intervals second element if it is greater than that or lesser than that. Okay, if it is greater than that, it means that it is starting before this one, so it is an overlapping. Okay, the first step is done here, so it is overlapping. So next thing is we need to merge it. So here what we saw is So simply we simply pick the second range, right? Second range is second element, we simply pick this one. So that gave us answer, but this time we cannot do that because 3 is ending just before it, right? So the correct answer would be 4, right? Because the range correct answer, by visualizing it we can see it is 1 comma 4. But if you just simply pick the second elements last this one, right? If you can simply pick this one, we'll be losing out 4 here, that will be incorrect. So simply what we can do here is we can simply pick the maximum of this one, okay? Second element, whichever is maximum, we'll pick it as a second element in the interval, new interval, merged interval, okay? So that's what we are going to do, okay? So basically, to summarize, right, what we are going to do here, what are we doing here is, so we are good to, first we'll be identifying if it is an overlapping or not. Second, we'll be merging it, okay? So for to overlap, what we are going to do here is, let me write an example again. Okay, so wrote this example here. So basically, first thing is we need to identify if it is an overlapping or not. How are we going to identify? We are going to identify that by C, if C is less than B, right? If C starts before than the B, right? It means that it's an overlapping. Okay, so here one condition is satisfied. Once it is overlapped, so next thing what we need to do here is, we know the what is the starting range, correct? We know starting will be, we are assuming that this is a sorted. Okay, like I mean, we'll come to that point later, but for now let's assume that this is in a sorted order. Okay, so now that if it is already sorted, it means that always A will be obviously lesser than the C, correct? So we'll be picking this as a starting range, okay, after merging. So now we don't know what to keep it in the second one, correct? So for that, we'll simply take a maximum of B comma D. Okay, so max of B comma D, whatever the answer we get, right, that will go to the new range. So whatever this is come, right, we can add it to the result. Okay, so once we analyze it, and we shouldn't be going for analyzing this one. Okay, so whatever the values that is merged, right? So whatever the answer we get merged, we'll have to compare the merged value with the next one. Okay, that keeping in mind for that one. Okay, so now let's check the code for it. So let's see. Okay, so before actually showing you the enhanced version, right, let's see the how we actually did it in the beginning. Okay, so whatever I explained so far, right? So basically, and also here, right, coming to the sort now. Okay, so here in the given problem, it's not always sorted. Okay, so what does that mean is, so 1 comma 3 can come at the end also. Okay, 2 comma 6 can come in the end also, like, okay, it can be shuffled anyway. Okay, here in the given answer it was sorted, it was easy to understand, but it can be anywhere. Okay, so that's why sorting is essential, and we are going to sort it based on the first element in a given interval. Okay, so we'll be sending the using a lambda function to sort it. Basically, here we have in place replaced it. Okay, so sort will do the in place replace. If you use a sorted, we will have to create a new array for it. Okay, we are doing an in place replace and sorted this one based on the first element. Okay, x of 0, it means it will pick the first element for a sorting one. Okay, and next thing is, okay, let me check this one right first. Okay, so basically what we are going to do here is, we are going to iterate through the list. Okay, we are assuming that it's already sorted. Now we are going to, every time we are going to pick the two elements. Okay, pick the two elements, and we'll do the same calculation that we discussed so far. What we'll do first thing is, we'll compare these two. Okay, to check the overlapping or not. Here we can see that B is greater than the C, it means it's overlapping. And what we are going to next thing is, this is the overlap condition. Okay, so next thing what we are going to do is, we're going to check if which one is the maximum one. Okay, so like whether this one or this one. Okay, so whichever we come to values, we are going to generate a new interval and update it to this one. Simply, like I mean, currently we are comparing these two values. Okay, but we'll update the result to this one. Currently here we are not creating any new list. Here we are replacing in place. Okay, we are doing the in place replace here basically. So whatever the new range that will come, we'll put it here and we will remove it from the list. Okay, we can remove it. Either if you want to build a new list, right, that also works. Here I've just picked the in place replace. Okay, and also, yeah, the one costly operation here is, we are popping the element. That will have some costly operation here. That will be a costly operation every time I pick. I need to move these elements, right? That will be again costly, but we'll see the enhanced version of it. Okay, this was the first initial approach that I've used. I just wanted to show to you. Okay, so this is what happening. Like I mean, for two things actually. First, we'll check if it is an overlapping. If it is an overlapping, we'll move our like I mean, we'll do the next calculation. Like I mean, generating the new interval and popping the old one. Okay, so we'll in the next time we'll be going to the next index. Okay, this was the initial approach. So enhanced version is, it looks even more simple actually, but kind of confusing, like when we look it at first actually. Okay, so what's happening here is, first thing is common, like we'll sort it. Okay, and the next thing is, we are here, we are going to create a new list altogether. Okay, like it's not in place here, we are going to create a new list altogether, which is a merged intervals. Okay, now what we're going to do here is, we are going to pick one interval each of the time. Okay, and at first we don't have anything in the merge intervals, right? We'll simply add it. Let's say that if it is an empty, we'll simply add it, because there is nothing to merge, right? So we'll add it to the list. Okay, so now from the next time, so whatever the calculation we done so far, that is going to apply. So what we are going to do here is, we'll check if it is a merged or not. Okay, we'll see if it is a, this condition will let us know, like if it is merged overlapping or not. Okay, if it is not overlapping, we can simply add it to the merge interval, right? We don't have to do any calculation, we'll simply add it to that list. Okay, and next time, and we every time, right? One more thing to keep in mind here is, so basically what's happening here we are creating a new list. Okay, merge list. Okay, and as I said before, once you merge this one, you are going to take the whatever the result, right? You are going to compare it with the next one. Okay, you don't actually jump to this calculation. Okay, so whatever the result we get, we need to pick this. So similarly, what we are going to do here is, so whatever the result comes, we'll put it into the merge list. Okay, and for the next operation, whatever that is coming in, right, we are going to use it and do the same operation on top of it. Okay, so that keep in mind for that. And yeah, that's it actually. Like, I mean, mostly what we are currently doing here is, if it is an empty, right, we'll simply add it to the merged intervals. Or else next thing is, we here in this condition, we are checking if it is an overlapping or not. If it is an overlap, if it doesn't overlap, we'll add it. Okay, if both of this condition doesn't satisfy, it means that there is an overlapping. We need to check the maximum value, like, I mean, whichever the maximum value we'll get, and we'll update the old max interval, basically, like whatever that was present in that margin interval, right? We'll update it to get a new interval. That's it actually. Yeah, thanks.